Hello everyone, welcome back to A Very Starkid Podcast, episode 2. Obviously I am back, hello, it's me, Fraser Oliver, joined as always by the wonderful producer Leo. Hello Leo.
Hello, welcome back for episode 2.
How are you doing on this?
It's going to be a cool thing.
As we've discussed, very stupidly warm day.
Apart from absolutely dying, I am doing wonderful.
It's just ridiculously warm, I hate it so much.
I have got an iced cold brew and it is delightful.
You're living the dream.
Oh,
What is
me.
a cold brew as opposed to just like an iced coffee or tea? What is the actual difference? Because it's like a whole different... is it a different thing?
Well, cold brew in itself is... To be honest, I don't know the best way to describe it. It's essentially just like coffee that's made to be cold.
Because I guess iced coffee, you make it and then you sort of pour it over ice. Yeah. And it's like, there's your iced coffee.
I think it is like brewed and like
coffee that's never hot.
Way to regular. I don't know if it's never hot. I don't know if it's hot when it's made, but it's like designed to be stored and drank and like preserved cold, essentially.
Because I don't think I've ever had a cold brew.
No, because a new brand. I'm like a coffee. I'm one of them people that like anytime a new flavor or brand is out
You're
there,
like,
I'm trying it. And the new one's come out today. And I picked up like.
Is that Rod's?
Yes.
Yeah, me and Parker had some of that today. I tried the waffle one and it was unreal. I really enjoyed the waffle one.
The waffle one was sold out where I am.
Because it's that. It's like is it a matcha?
A matcha vanilla, yeah, and a regular oat cold brew.
Yeah.
I have like 6 of the matcha vanillas in my fridge.
That was my next on my list. I thought we'll get one. We both got the waffle one, and that was really good. But the next one on my list would be the matcha vanilla because that sounds like a bit of me. I can't lie.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Now, before we get into obviously episode 2, we said in the first episode, the first 3 episodes of this are going to be the Hatchetfield trilogy. I feel like we do need to do sort of like a 10-15 minute each week if there's anything of like Starkid news updates thing. And there will be, I think, definitely now the Kickstarter has launched for the guy who didn't like musicals remount, which we spoke about last week a bit. But also there was the Starkid concert that you went to.
Yes, I did. It was possibly one of the most surreal experiences of my life. Like, everyone talks about, oh, these people are my idols, these people are that, but the energy inside that room and the fact that they now hold 2 London Palladium world records, one of the most like prestigious theatres in London, and Starkid hold 2 of the records for that theatre. It's insane.
Yeah, I can imagine just like seeing them live must... I don't think, and I've never seen them live, and the reason I didn't go to this one is because, and I was saying this before we started recording, I wanted to make sure, obviously I didn't know, but when I decided not to go, I didn't know if they'd be back. We now obviously know they're coming back next March. I was like, I don't want to go and there be songs that I just don't know. Like, to sit there and go... What is this? What song is it? What's this from? Oh, it's from Firebringer. Okay, don't know that one. Like, if I'm going, I want to know all of their shows.
Yeah, definitely.
Which I'm very close to doing now.
Yeah. Which, I mean, to be fair, while they did do some stuff from shows you haven't seen, it was surprisingly a lot of, like... stuff you would know. Like, there was, I think we had 2 or 3 of the Cinderella's Castle songs.
I saw AJ did Gilderoy, didn't he? Or am I making that up?
Yes, he did.
He did.
I saw a TikTok. Now, for those who don't know, AJ Holmes is my favorite Starkid member, because obviously he's not just a performer, he's also written and directed for the show. He is my absolute number one person at Starkid, and Gilderoy, or the correct name, Wizard of the Year, is my number one song by Starkid.
Is it? Whatever?
Yes.
Wow.
As I've made it a big point on both comments of videos and in the Discord that while I love musical theatres and I have multitudes of musical theatre dedicated playlists, I have one playlist that is like my everyday. I listen to this song I
Mm.
listen to these songs all the time, and only maybe 10 songs from musicals have ever made it onto that
Wow.
list, and only 4 of them are Starkid.
Which ones are they?
Well, obviously Gilderoy
Mm-hmm.
or Wizard of the Year, also followed by a show-stopping number,
Of course.
followed by If I Believed from Twisted,
Oh, I mean,
and recently added is Facade
oh, a
from
brilliant, brilliant song.
Cinderella's Castle. It used
Yes.
to be only 3, but Cinderella's Castle managed to bag me.
Facade is a
Uh,
brilliant song.
I must say though, back to what I was saying on
Yes.
Gilderoy, was scrolling through, found a TikTok because they're all over the place of the show being filmed.
Yeah.
Um, there is a TikTok out there where the Gilderoy, like the first beats of the song happen, and you can audibly hear me scream at the top of my lungs.
Yeah, because they don't release a set list, do they?
No,
So you must hear
and
the start of a song and just go, "Oh my god!"
I got quite worried because as yourself and many of the fans are aware, they did this sort of cryptic song contest
Yes.
to determine a special one night only song to be performed at both the Saturday and the Sunday
Mm.
performance. Now, I don't think they ever fully released what all the different songs were.
Yeah.
However, it was believed by some people that one of the songs on the Sunday list was Gilderoy.
Right.
Now, I was worried because it didn't get picked for either of them that it wasn't going to make it in the show.
Did you go Saturday or Sunday?
I was there at the Saturday
Okay.
performance. And that's why when I heard the beats, because it was the third to last song in the show.
So you'd almost
And
accepted. You were
so,
like, "We're just not going to hear
oh,
Wizard of the Year."
well,
That's
considering they had already done 2 Potter songs, as well as they'd already done 2 Potter songs, and AJ had already done like 3 of his biggest hits, not his ones that he's sung in shows, but ones that he had written from things like Twisted.
yes.
That and Me and My Dick, which I was not expecting the fact we get 2 Me and My Dicks. It's a criminally underrated Starkid show.
I'm excited to see it actually.
It is, and I was not expecting to get 2 songs from that musical into this concert. But I'd fully accepted that we weren't going to get it, and then when that song came in, I mean, it was incredible.
So other than Wizard of the Year, and that actually might not even be your answer, but what was the best song performance-wise live?
Oh, this is a hard one.
Because I realise I said if like you can't say Wizard of the Year, but then I'm fully aware you might go. As much as I love that song, there was another song that just seeing it live completely blew you away.
In terms of the one that fully blew me away, because it's another one of my like top songs, as everyone knows, my number one Starkid show is Twisted.
Yes, I mean
Is
it's
my number
incredible.
one, and I think it's a number one for a large percentage of the community.
I feel like it has to be number one for me just because of how much I love Monkey.
And
Like Monkey alone makes that a number one show.
Seeing Happy Ending, or also the Act One closer, live, sung by the original composer, the original Aladdin, and then just out of nowhere, Jaime stepping in for Jasmine.
Oh,
it was so incredible.
Mm.
Like genuinely, it was so like on beat, perfect, just to send you into the little interval that they had.
Nice.
But if I'm talking most like impressive one, like the best live vocals and one that I enjoyed listening to the most, I mean, it has to be Hatchet Town.
Oh, I'm
Hatchet
so
Town
jealous
Live
when I
was
saw that. I was like, that for me is up there in like top 5 Starkid songs of all time for me. I absolutely love Hatchet Town so much.
And the fact that excluding considering most of them do background vocals and don't really have any lead parts, excluding the background vocals of Jon, Kim, and Curt, you had the entire cast there
Oh
essentially
yeah,
of to do Hatchet Town, because you had Bryce
you had
there,
Joey,
you had Joey, you had
Corey.
Lauren, you had Corey, and you had, I think I said Corey twice there, and you had Jeff, and you had why am I blanking on the name?
Who else was? Who else was in Hatchet Town that was there? Because Kim and Curt weren't.
Kim and Curt one. I might have said them all, and I'm just blanking on myself.
I can't think. The comments will be like, "It was this person, you idiots."
Probably, yes.
If I know my comment section.
Yeah.
But hey, I'm getting better at names, so.
Oh, this is a funny one, a funny moment that happened in myself, and I had to sort of just correct myself on how stupid my thoughts were while sitting and watching the concert. I'm trying to remember what the song was now. It's completely blank to me what the song was, but there was a song that has specifically a Jon Matteson part in it.
Right.
And I was sat there, and they started doing it, and they were sort of all coming on one by one singing it. And then I can't remember who it was, but someone else obviously came on because Jon wasn't there,
Yeah.
and started singing Jon's part. And my brain just went, "Oh, why didn't Jon come on and sing it?" And then it took me like a good 5 seconds to then just sit back and go, "Oh yeah, Jon's not."
It's because
here.
he's not here.
Yeah, he's currently on a live stream in the middle of California, because that was the other big news, is that the Kickstarter went live.
Yeah, brilliant
while we were
live
there.
stream. Like this is the first one I've been a part of from the start. What a fun live stream!
Have you kickstarted yet?
I have kickstarted.
Wonderful.
I have kickstarted to that.
I kickstarted in line for the merch.
Yeah, I was gonna say the fact they did that, and like all through they were like, "Oh, we're gonna most of our group are over in London at the moment doing a show." But it was really funny because it was like 2:00. Or was that like whatever it was here, and they were like, "Oh, they might even be like on stage now," and everyone was like, "No, not even slightly, no." Because they didn't.
No, we're in the merch queues.
Yeah, there was loads of that in the chat. They're like, "Oh, they might be partway through the show," and people were like, "No, still waiting to go in, not even in there yet."
And another funny thing. So I kind of touched on it earlier, but just a couple things that are kind of mental about Starkid that I think often a company like Starkid does often get underrated. And sometimes, especially in like the mainstream theatre world, sometimes doesn't get the respect it deserves.
And people sort of go, "Oh, it's not a proper." Like if you go, "Oh, what's your favourite musical?" Nerdy Prudes. Well, it's not a proper. They're like, "Oh, it's not a proper. What's your proper musical?" You're like, "Okay, well, it is a proper musical." Like, it is a proper musical, I assure you. And people, yeah.
And like I say, Starkid hold the record for the fastest to ever sell out the London Palladium. Bear in mind, throughout its history, it has had acts there like Judy Garland, Frank Sinatra, Audrey Hepburn, all these insanely well-named and high-profile pieces. And even in modern day, even if I think in modern day theatre, people like Aaron Tveit, Jeremy Jordan, Darren Criss, Starkid alumni himself, have thanks, Darren, have all performed there. None of them sold it out as quickly as Starkid did.
They've got
we
such
also
a
shut
powerful
down the
fan
streets
group.
of London.
Yeah, shut down all the roads surrounding the Palladium.
Well, no. I don't know if have you ever been to the Palladium?
I have.
The merch queue quite literally zigzagged around the entirety of the bottom floor where the bar is, about back and forward 3-4 times, then went up the spiral staircase into the upstairs bit, wrapped round where the stairwell is, went against the back wall, zigzagged about another 3-4 times, then wrapped all the way around. And it was quite, when I joined it, I was a bit lucky. I sort of joined when it was long, but it hadn't reached like its peak potential.
Yeah.
I think at the longest that queue was easily like an hour and a half for merch.
Jesus Christ.
Like they had to like cut off the line and say like, we've got to stop, you've got to get in your seats, the show's about to start. They hadn't even got through about half the people that were queued up.
Hell.
It was insane.
Yeah, I will definitely be going next year. Because I will know it all by then, so I will definitely be. And it's like a social event as well, isn't it? It's like it's not just a concert, like it's a full on.
Yeah.
Yeah. Quickly going back to the live stream. Now, I've been very public on this channel of how much I love Nick Lang.
Yeah.
That is the first time I think I've seen and heard Matt Lang speak. I think I love him equally. He's really wonderful.
Oh, Matt
He is the
is absolutely wonderful.
sweetest man.
Yeah, because that's the thing. His behind the scenesness is just purely of his own volition. He's just not on stage person. He prefers to be, editorial and directorial behind the scenes.
But he's so funny.
He is.
Like, he was so funny on that stream.
If you want, and I mean, I'm sure everyone in the podcast and on the Discord and everywhere have been dying to know that you say it every time, and we're still sort of leading up to it. You will see some funny moments from Matt being the sort of MD and background musician for the entirety of Nightmare Time.
Yes.
While he doesn't necessarily play roles, he does do some. There are some funny moments.
The long-awaited Nightmare Time reactions, I promise, are coming.
We are working on it.
They're just so everyone. There's just so much of it, and it's like a completely different format. So it will happen. We're just trying to figure out the best way for it to happen. So bear with us, folks.
Everyone likes to think of the flow of production on YouTube channels like a nice running stream of water. Here it's more like a thick pour of molasses, just slowly. It's a bit of a trudging to get through,
but it's wonderful when it happens. It's wonderful.
A couple more notes just on the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not 100% sure, but from what I've seen, I believe this may be the fastest they've ever reached.
I think it is.
Like the main goal on a Kickstarter.
I have seen that. Go on.
Have you seen the announcement that they are partnering with U2s to create?
Yes.
The plushies.
Yes, because they said that on the stream. They were like they used U2s, and I was like, that is unreal.
And we're getting a special return this winter.
Oh.
So obviously this summer, to coincide with the obviously remount of Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, we're getting Pokey.
Yes.
As a U2s.
Yeah.
And a special wiggly little fella is coming back for winter.
Is he?
Created by U2s. Yeah, he's been teased on the Kickstarter page. If you all go on there, you can sort of see
my God.
A sort of faded out version of the design.
Oh, I want one.
But
I want a wiggly.
Yeah, so the initial goal, the 250k that they were looking for, was achieved, I think, within 2 hours.
Oh yeah, they actually. I remember them on the stream. John kept bringing up what they'd done, and they were all absolutely they just, because I couldn't believe that the Lang brothers were like, I don't know if this will what if we don't make any money? What if no one wants it? And they were really concerned. Nick Lang didn't sleep because he was like, what if this just doesn't make any money? What if people don't want this?
To be fair, I did see online when it was first announced, there was a bit of discourse about whether this should happen. There was. It was a lot of debates on whether was this the right show to get a remount? Why did they pick this first and all that?
And I mean, if you want to hear Arthur, we last week spoke quite a lot, didn't we, about why we actually think this is the perfect show to remount. And actually all through last week's episode, if you haven't heard, and if you haven't listened to it, these are all on Spotify if you would rather just audio, or obviously if you want to see the fun, fancy artwork that Festa did for us, you can keep watching on YouTube. It's a wonderful artwork that Festa did, actually. It's very cool.
Yeah, and so I mean they've updated their stretch goals now. We have they've already reached the first of the new stretch goals. Paul's budget, as it's called. They are currently at around 380k. They are. That's obviously in dollars. Over here, it's around 190 something. Oh well, I'm well off. £287. Sorry.
I mean, that is just a ridiculous amount of money, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's obviously converted from they're at 382. $382,000
Jesus.
dollars at the minute, which puts them at the 375K Paul budget. The next one is 400K, which is the Higgins budget.
Good.
My favorite, 425K Peeps budget.
Great. We call ourselves Pete.
Fun thing, I don't know if this is just what they've named it for this specific thing, or if this is a canon thing that I missed out on.
Okay.
But they've got a sort of artistic drawing of what is clearly Wilbur Cross, aka Uncle Wiley, aka the Wiggly Man, played by Joey Richter. However, he's named the Warlock.
Oh.
Now, I don't call myself a Nightmare Time aficionado. Like, I've watched it. I know the basic premises of each of the stories. But if this is something
there's
that
some lore
I've missed,
we've missed out on.
That's the lore that I've missed. And then obviously you've got the Witch's budget, which is I must be missing at least. There's probably an entire episode I've not watched or something.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much of it, isn't there?
Well, to be fair, last time I watched Nightmare Time was briefly skimming through it to give you the information you needed for Nerdy Prudes.
Well, that's right.
The last time I watched Nightmare Time.
You'll get to rewatch it with my commentaries of what's going on. Sorry, what's happening? Oh, it's Joey Richter. I love Joey Richter. That'll probably be there. You just had my Nightmare Time reaction summed up.
Yeah.
I love Joey Richter. It's Joey Richter. Oh, I love Nick Lang. I like Nick Lang. Oh, Matt. I like Matt. That'll be it.
Oh, it's Joey Richter who's turned up topless with a terrible beard and covered in blood.
I don't mind that.
Joey Richter is in his underwear for, I believe, one.
You should have said that. I'd have watched it so much sooner. I'd have watched it all by now if you give me that as a tagline.
To be fair, for me, that's AJ Holmes. They say that it's like, oh, AJ Holmes will be appearing in Nightmare Time 3. He may be shirtless. I'm like,
you're like, well, I will watch it.
However much it takes to make this happen, I will pay it.
Right. So should we get into the second installment of the Hatchetfield trilogy with Black Friday?
Yeah. So I think one thing, and I did mean to message you beforehand to just double check that you remembered this. We have made some changes to our rankings from the last video. So before we had 5 categories, which was plot, music, characters, staging, and performance. And now we have decided to sort of adapt those categories. Under plot, we now include the talks of writing, you know, the script and the book of the show. And for me, I've put it under staging to also put direction.
Yeah, so I've got plot / writing, and then I've got staging / directing. Because we sort of realised as we were talking about them, we sort of realised, hang on, there's nowhere really to talk about like behind the scenes creativity other than really staging. So yeah, we got make sure we can, and we're also now doing 0.5 rankings with numbers as well. Because I know a couple of mine in the last episode, I was like, this is closer to a 4, but it's still a 3. Whereas now, we can go 3.5 or whatever like that. So get a bit more precise with the rankings. So we're going to start with plot and writing.
So I'm going to try my best to interpret this. Now, I must be real. I watched Black Friday. The day that I got home from the Starkid concert, I was half asleep. I was vaguely mumbling the lyric and jotting down my notes. So a lot of this is just very much like to give you an example under plot. Under another category is literally just 4 names of characters.
I've actually got that at some point. I've got under performances. I've just got a name and full stop, because I may or may not have had a couple glasses of wine while watching Black Friday. So as these notes go on, it just gets slightly more unintelligible towards the end. And
looking back, these are not some of the rankings that I would have thought I would have given. So I do think being, you know, ever so slightly tipsy and very tired does definitely improve Black Friday. Is that the optimal watching experience?
I did just have an idea actually that I might do. So I was thinking, yeah, I did have a few. Actually, I think I saw about 3/4 bottle of wine while watching Black Friday. So the ending is slightly hazy to me, but that's okay. I might, when I rewatch some of them, I might do it on a Patreon live stream as like a sort of watch along type vibe.
And we just get drunk.
Yeah, I could literally just do like a Patreon watch along and take my notes on there. I might do that.
We got drunk and watched the Hatchetfield trilogy.
That is actually a class video idea. That's a Patreon
Yeah.
exclusive right there.
Just like an edited down like 4-hour cut.
We
of
got
just
drunk and
you-
watched the Hatchetfield trilogy.
Yeah,
That might have to happen.
us in a Discord call.
We have a drinking game
Drunk
sorted
out.
as well. Every time a musical
Anytime,
motif is repeated, we'd be dead.
We'd be dead. Anytime Joey Richter says something funny, we'd be dead.
Every time Fraser goes, "Oh look, it's Joey Richter. I like Joey Richter."
Anytime Jeff Blim sings a high note, we'd be dead.
Every time he uses his falsetto, we would.
Yeah.
I would be broke if we did that.
Okay, so we're on a tangent. Let's jump
We
back
are.
to plots and writing. So
No, you go on.
me go further? Okay, well, I mean, my first thing, I've always said this show has the best story of any of the Patcherfield trilogies. And I mean, shown here in my notes, it is not just in terms of the Hatchetfield trilogy and in terms of Starkid, just generally in terms of a story. One of the most well-written stories I have ever watched. Like, I genuinely go through, and I find it like gripping at points. Like, I am invested. I want to know more. It knows what to say, like where to say it.
Yeah, I've
Many
literally written my first note for plot and writing. My first note for the whole thing is just a wonderful mix of surreal, dark, comedic moments and heartfelt domestic scenes. Because that's what it is. It's so perfect at going, look at this real, like, dark, surrealist moment. And then you get this really quite, like, heartfelt. And I've said, like, in it, especially for me in the first 10 minutes, when you get, like, the car scene with Paul and Emma and into Tom's house, just having had this whole tickle me wiggly jingly, you're like, what's going on? And then it just goes, now we're doing this really quite sort of kitchen sink drama type scene.
Yeah.
And that kind of continues through
Followed
the whole
by
show, and I love it.
Arguably one of the most gut-wrenching songs in all of
Oh my god.
Starkid, which is only competing with its other most gut-wrenching song later in the show.
Yeah,
Like, it's and we'll get onto that when we get to music, but
that's the
it
thing.
is
I think
so-
that because we said we said last week, we sort of said, what is it we said? This has got the best story. What
Guy
else?
Who Didn't Like Musical has the best comedy. Nerdy Prince
It's
has
the
the best music.
Yeah, and I think that is still true. But I think the music in this, and again, obviously we'll get to this, is to me, I love the music in this. But yeah, we will get to that. We don't want to stop jumping ahead,
we've got
Fraser.
differing views there then.
What's that?
We've got differing views there then.
Oh dear.
When we get onto it, but still on the plot and the writing. I mean, it's so emotional. Like Black Friday, there are very few Starkid shows that have, or very few shows in general that have made me cry. And Black Friday is definitely one of them. Like, there are some shows where I get a bit emotional, I may get a bit misty-eyed. Black Friday has made me sob. Like, it is so insanely emotional.
And it's so clever as well.
Yeah.
Like, the way it's emotional is just so clever.
I tried to keep it balanced when I'm making my notes, so I do have a negative written here.
Okay.
And it's mostly in the fact that I do think, while it does so well at saying what it needs to say and doing what it needs to do, it could speed it up in points. There are scenes where I'm like so emotionally invested but it goes on just that bit too long.
Yeah, and I think
Or
that's...
I feel I'm being dragged a bit. It's like, okay, I get it. I'm so emotionally invested. Let's move on.
Yeah, I think
Let's
where
keep
I
going.
said it does the surreal like comedy and then goes into the domestic scenes. I don't think there are many of those surreal moments where I go, we can speed it up, but a lot of the domestic scenes, it can drag. I
Yeah,
think that can be said for Starkid in general, to be honest.
yeah,
A lot of the times where I've gone, do we need to do this scene? Can we move it along? Tend to be the domestic, more sort of, I guess, real life in quotation marks moments. I'd also love though with this show how it sets up such like a classic festive trope of a story where it's, oh, dad tries to get a toy that's massively in demand for his kid to show he loves
it's
him.
very like Jingle All the Way.
Yeah,
it's very like
it's such a overused. I say overused. It's such like a classic trope in like festive films, but it just completely takes it into a like different direction that you kind of. Because I know when I first watched it, I was like, oh, okay, so it's this story. Got it. Okay, he's getting the toy for his son because he's trying to connect with him. I've got it. And then you sort of go, oh no, okay, we're doing, okay, cool.
Well, I mean, that's kind of the whole point. It is Jingle All the Way, but what if the toy was a sentient demon from an unknown world that wants to devour the universe?
I mean, hey, we were all thinking it. We've all been saying for years. Jingle All the Way would be much better if it was a sentient demon from the black and white who wanted to take over the world. I mean, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah.
You know, it's just one of those things that I love it when pieces of media do that.
Oh, definitely.
Take a trope, absolutely mess with it.
But overall, coming to the end of that, I think my ranking for plot and writing was a 4.
Okay, see, mine was a 3.5.
Oh, see, yeah, for me, I think it's just literally the only thing, honestly, actually, you know what, live on the podcast,
You're
I'm
not changing it.
my
Oh
ranking.
my word. Episode 2,
That's
we're already
4.5.
Oh, it's going up
for the story. It's going up.
Hell on.
The only thing that knocks it for me is that it drags in some places. Like, there are some scenes, and honestly, kind of countering to your opinions, I think it's sometimes a bit more of the comedy scenes than it is the
Really?
emotional scenes for me, where I'm like, oh, because I think while I like the subversion of expectations, in a show where the emotional points are so goddamn emotional and drawing you in, it kind of cuts out for too long. It's like we'll have this big dramatic scene between, Tom and Becky, and it's so like it's one of the most best written like romance scenes I've ever seen. And then we jump into this comedy bit, and it's kind of left me hanging. Because if it was say like the Paul and Emma scene, in the middle of a guy who didn't like musicals, I see that and I'm like, great.
Or when they're sat down with the whole like, I don't want to die in Hatchetfield, but yeah,
it's nice, it's emotional, it keeps you in the story, and then we can cut into a comedy bit and keep it going. But the issue is they get you so invested that I only want to get back to that.
Yeah, like, I do get.
Funny,
yeah,
great.
I think they don't stick with either for long. Like, it feels like it jumps around a bit too much for me. This show, I think, is one of my major problems with it.
Yeah,
and I think the first time I watched it, and I don't really know why I thought this, I kind of had, because this for me, I think, is the show, just not even Starkid, but just in general, the show that I've done the most of like a 180 on. Because I remember when I watched this, my reaction was like, what the fuck is this? What? I'm not enjoying this at all. Reaction.
When I watched it, it was like indefinitely my least favorite Starkid.
Yeah.
Like, when I watched it,
I just didn't get it.
Bear in mind, I had seen it. I know you haven't seen this show yet, but to the fans who are watching this now, bear in mind, when I said this, I had already seen Annie. So that was a
poor
rough
Annie
statement to make. You understand.
I'm really excited to watch Annie. I'm really excited.
It's not a bad show. I don't even know the correct way to say it. It's not bad. It's just not done right.
Okay, I'm very excited to watch it. To be fair.
Yeah.
But no, that is my big problem with this. It doesn't do one thing for long enough. It feels very jumpy. I remember my initial reaction was, I think there's too many, like, main characters, if that makes sense. I don't think that now, and I don't know why I thought that. But I do think sometimes there could be too much going on.
Well, I mean, this drives me perfectly into some of my points about music and following that characters. Is that I think they directed and sort of made the show focused around a character who is, like, most people would look at and go, is the main character. When I watch this show, I don't think they're the main character for 1 minute. And that is Tom.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
They center a lot on Tom. Tom is not the main character of this show.
No.
The main character is Lex.
Yes. And it's weird, I had this exact realization when I did the rewatch. It got to the song. Is it called Black Friday, her song? It is, isn't it?
Black Friday,
yeah.
Yes.
I got to that song, and I was just like, yeah, no, this isn't about Tom at all.
And this is
one of
my big things, now that we've moved on to music, is a big thing on top of my, like, in full capitals under the sort of music heading, is not enough Lex.
Yeah.
Like, for someone who is very clearly, at least in my mind, the main character of the show, she got like half as much as Tom did.
Yeah, it is strange that they focus so much on Tom, especially when you get your song at the start, what Tim wants, and you're like, okay, so this is the story of this dad, and then it just kind of fades, and that's kind of actually just like that. That's kind of what I meant with my plot ranking. Is it doesn't feel like we're focusing on one thing for a right amount of time at all, and that continues into this with why are we focusing so much on one thing and not the other?
Well, because, like, watching it and, like, looking at the important parts. Sorry, I'm gonna cough.
That's all right.
Yeah, sorry about that. Looking at the important, like, beats of the story, you know, the like learning about the threat, dealing with the threat, eradicating it, the ending, they're all Lex centered. Like, if you look at purely the writing of this show, it's clearly designed for Lex to be the protagonist.
Yeah.
But, like, listening to the music and the sort of direction of this show, it sort of paints out Tom to be the protagonist, but he's not. He's very much the B plot.
Yeah, it is, and I kind of get to that with characters, but the way they deal with the characters in the show does really confuse me. I will be honest. But music wise, one of the things I do like about the show is the musical, like, motifs throughout.
Yeah,
I'm a sucker for a musical motif.
I like the fact that they managed to incorporate some of the Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals motifs.
Yeah, like, I remember when I first watched it and I heard The America Is Great Again, a bit of that come in before we saw McNamara, and I was like, oh my god. And, like, immediately I hear that and I go, oh my god, are we getting General that is such a clever use of a musical motif, and that's one thing this show did very well for me, is adding in those little bits of music. Yeah. I also think, and I think you might disagree with this, I know you definitely will for one of them. I think, and I will do this a lot, is I will listen to 4 songs in a row in this show. So I will genuinely sometimes go, I'm just going to put them on and let these 4 songs play. Do you reckon you could work out what those 4 songs are? 4 consecutive songs. I would just let those 4 play and go, right, I'm good now. I'm going to move on to a different playlist or whatever.
That would be
4 of my favourite songs ever.
What do you say? Into Our Doors Are Open. Into... I need to be able to remember the song list.
You're right. It's What Do You Say? Into Doors Are Open. Into Feast or Famine. Into Monsters and Men.
Feast or Famine.
For me, those 4 songs are... I love all 4 of those songs.
I do just have Monsters and Men written here.
It's
my,
in a good way or a
2
bad
a.m.
way.
brain, my 2 a.m. non-context brain. I think that's in a good way.
Okay.
Best thing, I think if I've written something in caps, it's so like in like bold letters, it's something I'm mad about. If I've just written it, I think
Cool.
I'm saying I like it.
I mean, Monster Men,
Yeah,
Curt in that is like the whole like
yeah,
never take your office lightly bit. That bit actually gives me goosebumps every time.
yeah.
Just
And I mean, from a musician's standpoint, as someone who teaches and helps train people in music, listening to it, for me at least, it's actually one of Jeff's cleanest high notes. On
yeah.
that final, you've got to step. I can't sing that high, but
Get that
on that
Jeff
final, it's one
falsetto
of his
out, Leo.
cleanest. I can do it when I've warmed up.
Yeah.
But no, but it's one of the cleanest of his high notes. I'm not saying they're all bad or anything, but like it's so like on note, held with perfect vibrato. It's a brilliant mix. Like it sounds a lot like head voice, but he is very much in mix there. Like he's not all the way up in his head. He's getting a good amount of belt onto that high note.
I've seen a lot
He
of hate
is.
recently on social media for Jeff. Have you seen
I
this?
think, yeah, I think the problem is, and it is a part, and it's something that a lot of singers who are known for singing like either very impressive high notes or doing very intense beats with their voice. Unfortunately, you can hear it in the later things that he has done at least some level of damage to his voice
Oh, 100%.
from singing that high. Like listening to say him sing high in The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals or Travel to Oregon, and hearing him when he has to sing a high note in say Cinderella's,
Yeah.
he has done some level of damage. Not something that's irreparable,
But
and
to be
not
fair,
something that's completely ruined his
he
voice.
did a lot of
But
he did a lot less high notes in Cinderella's though, was something I really noticed.
yeah, which
Is
I think was a conscious choice,
yeah.
as well as he. I mean, he even spoke about it in. He kind of like he spoke about it in things where he's like ready. He's happy to like start taking songs down, and he definitely sung a lot less high notes. Apart from one thing that I would like to hark back to the concert at one point if we
Yeah.
can, but well, I might do it right now. Is
Go for it.
other than the fact that he sang Mariah's part in thinking about these, I can't remember the name of the title of the song, but the song from Cinderella's Castle, the
Yeah.
thinking about. He sung Mariah's
Oh
part
my
with
god.
Lauren and Bryce for that, and he sang it in Mariah's key,
Jesus
like
Christ.
for the whole time. So other than that, like a lot of the stuff he did do in London as well was brought down or
Yeah.
like was sung at like a more regular, because he has an incredible lower register.
Oh, he does.
He does.
I think I even said that in my reaction to Cinderella's Castle. I was like, I just love hearing Jeff's lower register. It's something we don't hear a lot of, but it's actually really, really nice.
Yeah.
I do wish
And
we
like
heard it more.
But yeah, I mean, more on that topic of, I mean, because yeah, he's clearly done some damage, and he's clearly strained his voice to a point where some of those notes that he could hit are not as easily achievable anymore, which is why he's making the conscious choice. Now, I'm excited to see where he goes with some of the songs in I'm losing my words here.
Oh, and Guy Who
In
Didn't
the
Like...
remount,
Yeah.
in the Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals remount,
Yeah,
I'm
because obviously a
curious
lot
what
of
he's
What
going
Do You
to do.
Want, Paul, is
Yeah,
up there. But it doesn't... We know it doesn't have to be.
it doesn't have to be.
And
'Cause, I
maybe
mean,
it shouldn't be.
With some, because again, he wrote the music, so he can very easily tinker with the
Oh,
music.
yeah.
Because What Do You Want, Paul can easily be taken down for a majority of the songs. He could whack a key change in there where for that last bit he still goes up to where he was in the original song, but for the rest of the song he's lower down.
You know what? I do love a key change. Like, if a song has a key change in it, immediately I go, oh, I love it. I love it. There's something about it I
But
just absolutely love.
while we're speaking on Jeff's composing of music, I do have one final note for the music
Okay.
of Black Friday, which is a good thing to hark back to, I think. Is that for me, Black Friday felt very different. If that, like, Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals was clearly all the different songs were sort of different comprehensive parodies of musicals
Yes.
and like the styles of songs you get in musicals. And a note I've got here, which I didn't understand until like 5 minutes before we started reading this, sort of in a small font, and I think I very much was almost asleep when I wrote this. Underneath different, I have put SpongeBob, and I
What?
realise now why I have put that. Because for those, I know yourself, you do, because you're a fan of the show,
Bloody love SpongeBob.
as well as I'm sure a lot of people in the Discord are. It feels like the songs were written by different people.
Got it. I know. I see where you're going with this. Yeah. So for context, people that don't know, the SpongeBob musical, every song in that is written by a different artist. I think the Plain White Tees did something for it. Who else was in there? Panic at the Disco did one.
They Might Be Giants did my favorite one of the track.
Which one did they do?
They did I'm Not a Loser.
Oh well, that is a great. That is. I can't hear that now in Nerdy Prudes Day without thinking. I think I even said that when I watched it actually.
I'm not a loser.
Yeah, during Cause I Think I was like, oh, you could play Squidward. Because that's just how my brain works.
And it's definitely not a dig, but it feels like one of them musicals where like it feels like a jukebox musical.
Yeah, I was just about to say it almost is a weird non-jukebox musical.
Like where you go and see something like Rock of Ages, and it's that weird sort of like half-built set look. The band's on stage.
Yeah, like sort of not a staged concert, but that kind of thing where you're like, it's not like the music at least. Obviously, the show is nowhere near that, but yeah, musically it very well could be.
Yeah, like I want to preface what I'm saying. This is not like a dig at all at the show. Like it's not me saying it's a negative, but it just feels like if you played me Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals and said this is a show that started a trilogy, then played me Nerdy Prudes Must Die, I go, oh, I can see how these are part of the same trilogy.
See where we went there. Yeah.
But then you played me Black Friday, I would go, where does this fit in? Like it does not feel in the same world.
No, it's so different.
Apart from the motifs. Like apart from picking out the motifs of the other shows and the songs, I wouldn't know that these came from the same lineup.
No. And I think sometimes that works in its favour. Sometimes it does take points away for me.
Yeah. Which is why my final point ranking was a 2.5.
2.5. See, mine was a 3 until I realised that run of 4 songs in a row, and so I worked on an extra 0.5. So a 3.5 for music. Same as plot, which feels strange for me, but it's what I've written. It's that weird thing of like writing this as I'm watching it and then having the version of it in my head. Like they're two different shows almost.
Yeah.
Like the actual show and the show I think of when someone says Black Friday, and now me, like future me, now reading this back that I wrote at the time of watching it, I go, what show was I? Like it feels like a completely different show to me.
Yeah.
Which doesn't feel the same when we did Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, and I don't think will feel the same for Nerdy Prudes. But with this one, for some reason, I go, I've got a completely different idea of what this show is in my head.
Because, I mean, a bit of a spoiler for the next episode, for me at least, is when I was sort of debating the music on this, I knew I preferred the music in Black Friday over Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals.
Yeah.
Bar a few songs, I knew that I preferred the music. But for me, I know, and spoiler for next week, the music in Nerdy Prudes is a 5 for me. Oh. There is no way it can be any lower than that.
I think I'd probably agree. Again, spoiler, but yeah, I think... I think, honestly, that's... Go on.
So I had to think, where does it land in comparison to that?
What did you rank Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals? Can you remember?
2
for music. Oh,
was the
okay.
music for Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, because it has some good strong points, but the negatives aren't necessarily in the music, but more in the choices made
Yeah,
with the music.
and the characters that do
And
and
we
don't
obviously
get to
spoke about, like,
sing, and
yes,
yeah.
and the fact that Jeff needs to sometimes sit down and let some other people sing.
Write a
Because,
banger song, but let someone else sing it, please.
yes, like, you did a wonderful job with Cinderella's Castle. You took notes. Thank
Yeah,
you.
you did. Yeah, you did very well. I mean, Castle on a Hill is still
Oh, wonderful.
an absolute tune.
But he wrote some incredible songs and
He
said,
did.
okay,
And went, I'm not going to do it
let
though.
someone else sing them.
I'm all good.
Bryce, you take these.
Bryce, you got this. And I'm very glad he
But,
did,
yeah.
because I love Bryce. She's got such a good voice.
But yeah, so I gave it a 2 then, and I think this one, I like it more than The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, but I don't think I like it immensely
Yeah.
than The Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals.
Yeah, I think originally so Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, I said I rewatched that loads. This is the second time, maybe third time I've rewatched Black Friday. And honestly, after the first watches, I would have said, I think Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals was my favourite, then Nerdy Prudes, then Black Friday. Now, they're kind of all on a very level playing field for me. I think Nerdy Prudes is definitely, and obviously we'll get there, I think Nerdy Prudes would probably definitely be on top. But Black Friday and Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals are actually more similar than I thought they would be. In my head.
Yeah, I mean, for me, they're talking on specific subjects. I mean, yeah, they sort of combat each other, but in terms of an overall package, and again, we'll get to this when we get to the final numbers, but I do think Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals does beat out Black Friday for me, as in the sense that the ranking goes Black Friday, Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, and Nerdy Prudes.
Yeah.
But anyway, should we move on to I've got characters?
Yeah.
Because again, it follows on from my music point. Another thing I've got in caps under characters is needs more legs.
See, I've got. I can really tell this is when the the white Zinfandel was starting to take over my brain. Because I have got in a font that I would say has to be at least 4 sizes bigger than anything else in this document. And all it says is fucking hate Ethan.
Oh yeah, Ethan's a
That's
prick.
all I've got. I've got one other note. Oh no, 2 other notes. But it's in such a big, bold... It's even in italics for some reason.
Both on stage and off stage.
Yeah, I mean, it was Robert Manion, so you know that. But yeah, I just hate Ethan.
We should have saw the signs
much.
when he was surprisingly good at playing a douchebag.
Yeah, that's a very good point. But I just remember watching it going, I hate this man so much. Like, he's just, and not even to the point where you watch it and go, because there's characters that you watch and go, I hate you, but I also can't stop watching.
Like they tried to make him lovable.
That's
like in the way that the acts with but it just doesn't work.
They tried to make him out as this, like, oh, the boyfriend who's trying to, you know, like, get involved in the family, but he just comes across as a prick. I hate him so much. It's not even a character you love to hate. I actually enjoy hating him. Like, I don't love to hate him. I get rage whenever I see his face. I didn't even realise it was Robert Manion until someone told me, to be fair.
Yeah, like, he does very much feel like the sort of character that was purely brought in for the fact of, oh, we need someone who can sort of be the driver for Lex. Oh, we need someone who can die here to give some meaning to what Hannah's going through. Like,
but it really doesn't. Like, I don't think he does anything in the show that I go, oh, that's why he's in it. Like, personally, like, everything he does, I go, why? Just why? I mean, I don't really like the California. I don't really like the song, which doesn't help. But he's just the worst character.
California. It's not a great song, but again, it does feel like one of them songs. They got, you know, a specialist composer in to do this one.
Yeah.
Like, like, you know, they got the plain white tees for one song and they wanted to show it off. Like,
yeah, they thought we can't not put it in.
Yeah, it does. And again, this is no disrespect to Jeff, but yeah, that's sort of what it feels like with the music on that. Moving on from the fact that need more characters, needs more Lex. Sorry, is that, I mean, Tom. While again, I feel like he was focused on too much. The times when we were with him were just 10 out of 10. I mean, Dylan. What more can you say about him?
That's the thing. It's so hard sometimes to separate characters and performances here, because it's like.
But I mean, yeah. I mean, but even just outside of Dylan, just the writing for that character, like you feel every molecule of what that character is going through, just in the writing alone. Like, even if that was just a book, like without having Dylan behind it, just the writing alone tells you the turmoil that this character is in.
Yeah, like some of the simple as like some of the word choices and just the way he is structured is just genius to like giving you an insight to this very broken man. And obviously Dylan's performance we'll get on to. Spoiler, it's wonderful.
Yeah,
but,
I mean their performances and their characters only get better in the unnamed TV series that you are yet to watch.
Yeah.
But they do. They are so that, and it kind of moves on to the other character that I have sort of highlighted here. Is, for me, at least in Black Friday, I'm not talking in the extended Hatchfield universe. She gets more story. It's better once you've seen everything. But speaking solely on Black Friday, Becky feels underdeveloped as a character.
Yeah.
It very much does feel like she was thrown in here as rock. Tom needs a rock. Like, he cannot get through this entire plot on his own. Here's Becky.
Yeah, that is.
Like,
yeah,
I love Becky Barnes as a character. I think she's great. It feels like we got her before we knew her. Like, she was important before we knew who she was, if that makes sense.
Yeah. No, I think you're right. It's you almost go, but I want to know so much more than what we do know going into this. Like, I feel like we should have had a little precursor here to Becky.
Yeah.
Because obviously, before Tom really gets involved in the action, you get that like we said, that domestic scene with him and Paul, Emma, and Tim, and you get that sort of, and then when it all starts to kick off and the emotions are all high, you go, oh, okay, I do now care about this. He's just had an absolute banger of an emotional ballad. Wonderful.
Yeah.
Whereas Becky just
you get the small sort of comedic domestic between Linda and Becky when Linda first arrives at the line, and then obviously you get the small bits of exposition we get during What Do You Say?
Mm-hmm.
But it just, while she gets a lot more development in subsequent stories and writing and just further knowledge of the character, in terms of Black Friday, Becky Barnes does feel like she was written to be the rock for Tom. Not like she was like, oh, this is a cool character we're adding. It's like, we need someone to be there for Tom. Yeah. Let's create this Becky person.
She was almost like a situational character there. Like, we need someone to go here. Let's create Becky Barnes. Not, this character's really cool. Where can we put her? It was sort of someone needs to go here. Let's create a character to fit that role. Yeah. And then add some stuff. Yeah. No, that is a very good point.
The only other thing I've got here, and it's very much scribbled in, again, probably half asleep when I was writing this, is just Linda is funny, I like Gerald. Is quite literally what is written here. Again, not sure my headspace at the time. But
brilliant.
Linda is funny, I like Gerald.
Well, that's all I think. Yeah, that's pretty much summed up the show, no?
It's something.
Linda's funny, I like Gerald.
On Gerald.
No, yeah, the whole Gerald Linda is very amusing.
Yeah.
I do have something else, and it's the I just really enjoy the like Uncle Wiley Wobble Cross in the scene with Frank and Lex when he's dropping off the Wiggly dolls. The character in that scene, I just really enjoyed. Obviously, we see him later on, but there's something about that scene and the way the characters interacted in that scene that I just really enjoyed.
I mean, I've got Joey for a multitude of reasons, and I think I'll sort of bring my.
Hello.
Could you hear me?
You cut out then.
Ah, okay. Sorry.
That's
I don't
all
know
right.
why that was. It's a bit weird. I think my mic might be. I'm gonna hold my mic closer. Okay. No, I think I've got Joey down like in very big bold letters with a bunch of notes under performance.
Yeah,
So I think I'll keep my sort of Uncle Wiley talk to when we get down
I
there.
I think I've got more. Yeah, I do indeed have more, more Uncle Wiley talk. But yeah, it was just that
Yeah.
specific character interaction with Frank, Lex, and Wilbur that I really enjoyed. So what
I
did you
think
give characters then? If
characters, I gave 4 for character. I mean, it sort of comes under my same reasoning for plot and writing. He's so well written, these characters.
so we agree that I also gave it a 4.
Yeah,
That is the first one
that
for this
seems
show
fair.
we've agreed on. But
Yeah.
we've not been too far off actually from each other. I think music was actually wasn't. What did you give music?
2.5.
Okay, so it's only 1 point off. That's not too far.
Yeah.
So next, staging / directing.
Yes.
My first note here, and I think it's kind of the obvious thing when talking about the staging of the show, the slight upgrade of set adding literally just a second level is such a simple addition, but adds so much, and I don't think is overused. Like, that'd be so easy
Not
to go,
at
we've got
all.
a second level, perfect, let's do so much with it. But the only times they use it, you go, yeah, of course you'd use that second level. I've seen shows, professional and amateur, that have a second level and go, okay, everything should happen on that second level. And you go, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the way they use that second level is so effective and such a simple thing. We're just adding a bit of, like, steel deck up there. It's nothing fancy. But
Oh,
you go,
100%.
oh my god.
And I think it kind of pairs well with the fact that the show feels a lot more intimate.
Yeah.
Like it's a much, very clearly a much, well, actually, I don't know. I'm not sure the different theaters. I know obviously they now regularly use the El Portal, but other than that, I'm not sure what theater they used for Black Friday versus what theater they used for Guided Like Musicals. It definitely, at least in filming, seems like a much smaller place.
Yeah. Which I think works.
Which works, yeah. And I mean, it having this what many people might argue as a bigger set but in a smaller place, I think works, because I think if they had gone for like that exact same set they had at on Black Friday, you know, that sort of riser with the underpass bit,
Yeah.
but put that on the stage where they did Guided Like Musicals, it'd feel too small, out
Yeah.
of place. And I don't think it needs to go any bigger than what it did.
No, I think they absolutely nailed almost like the proportion between how much stage do we have, what set can we do. I think,
Yeah.
and that with what story are we trying to tell here, how intimate do we want it to be? I think all of those elements really work together. I think it's such a clever, simple set, and I've got here the Wiggly puppet being used like with the tinsel that was there from the start. Is honestly perhaps one of my favorite like puppetry moments, because it's just, you then go, oh, so wait, Wiggly's been there the whole time.
Yeah.
Like Wiggly's
I mean,
watching
that's what I
over
think
the
is-
entire show, and it's just genius.
Oh yeah.
I
mean,
love it. I loved it when that happened. I lost my mind.
I wanna one of my notes. Last week, people who tuned into the podcast last week who are tuning in this week
And if
will
you
know
didn't, go
last
back and
week
watch last
on
week's, because it was an absolute banger.
definitely please, because last week under the staging section I had a qualm.
We don't have another qualm.
No, we have a rescindance of a qualm because
Oh
they
my god, we're taking the qualm away.
Well, not for last week.
But
but they fixed it for this show.
Okay. What was your qualm?
So
I can't remember.
For those who don't remember,
me being involved, me being
like
included
when
in that.
A band is half visible. I either want band on stage or band in a pit.
Yeah, like either interact with the band when they're on stage and make them part of it.
I like it when they interact. They don't even have to interact, but just having the band be visible or hiding the band is a big deal to me.
It's like pick a lane and stick in it. Do one or the other.
Yeah. With Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, on the left side where they did a lot of the coffee shop stuff and all that, you could see like sort of the drummer and like one of the guitarists just sticking out the side of the like backing wall, and it was like, well, that ruins the illusion. Like I either want to see the band or I don't.
And in a show like Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, you'd think seeing the band would be a massive, could be a massive plot point. Because you could directly reference, right, well, where did they come from? Why are they all playing the same? You could make that part of it. But I think we spoke about that back then.
Yeah. And I mean...
So where were they in this? I can't remember.
They're underneath the second level.
Right.
So, sort of through the truss work, they're not hidden, but you can see them.
Yeah.
And it's not like you can see half the band and half the band is covered. You can see the full band, which I like, which fixes the qualm.
So qualm fixed for this show.
Qualm fixed for this show. And again, they made the opposite choice with Nerdy Prudes, where the band was in the pit. You didn't see the band.
Yeah. So it's not a preference to either. It's just, if you're going to just do one with confidence almost. If you're going to do one, do it.
Yeah.
Do it with confidence and stick to it.
Yeah, definitely.
While we're on the sort of like the stairs and the sort of the steel decking with the second level, I love how this was filmed. There are so many nice moments of cinematography. My favourite one is in a song I don't really like. Is it Do You Want to Play? Or when Becky and Tom are chasing. It's when you see that shot of Becky through like the banisters on the set. And she just looks like dead at the camera. And there's this really nice shot of Becky looking menacingly into the camera.
Yeah.
And it's just an example of like some of the shots in this show are so nice.
Yeah, they definitely took an upgrade with this. Because, I mean, prior to this, Starkid have very much done okay, we get one day to film the show with live audience. And we do, like, one pickup day afterwards for the pickup filming. Like the close-ups and the on-stage shots and things like that. And they've definitely upgraded since then. Like, I think Black Friday must have been the first show where they had at least a decent bit more time, either whether it was like they only had a half day before, now they have a full day, or they did multiple days. But they definitely upgraded how much filming they did for like close-ups and shots. I mean, you even see it in Nerdy Prudes and Cinderellas. They definitely spent more time focusing on like pickups and shots and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's just the way it's filmed. I very much enjoyed. Like it just adds a nice little bit. That's all I've got on staging. Have you got any other? I
mean, I like the visible band, very intimate staging, and good use of elevation. Like you made it very clear, they knew what to use and when to use it.
Yeah, no overusing. They went, we could use it here. This would be cool, and they didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't milk it for all it had, which was what you want to see with what could be a gimmick, I guess.
Yeah, why for me, solid 3, middle of the road.
Oh, see, I've given it a 4.
I mean,
I
for
I
me,
love. Go on.
For me, 4 is like impressive. 5 is outstanding
Yeah.
when it comes to staging. Like, I think currently of the entire Starkid catalogue, I can think of. I don't know if there's a show that I would give a 5 for staging.
I think the reason it's got a 4 is it's like I agree with your metric there of like impressive, like 4, like what the metrics you had for 4 and 5. And my thing is with this is how, for me, it's how does the set complement the show? Like, it's very much not.
Yeah.
Like, I know people could see, like, it could be an awful show that has, like, this massive moving set piece, and they go, oh, the set was amazing. And it's like, well, yeah, but if the show didn't need that massive moving set piece, I don't know if it was amazing. Whereas I think this show,
100%.
I think the staging and the set just complements it so much. Yeah, I think the set complements the performance so much that it's, yeah, I can't think of any. I very rarely give 5s. Have anyone's given a 5 yet? Have you given a 5?
I've given a 5 for some stuff.
Yeah,
I've
I
given a 5
have you given a 5
today.
today? I feel like you did.
No,
No.
I gave a 4.5 for.
That's what it was.
I gave a 5 last week for performances.
Yeah. I think we both might have done, to be fair.
That's what I gave last week. But performances was a 5.
Which moves us on to performances.
Yeah. So I obviously put like a hold on my talk about Uncle Wiley until this section. Because Uncle Wiley, or Wilbercross, or as now we know the Watcher, or the Warlock, or
the Warlock, I
the
think, wasn't it, on the Kickstarter?
Whatever the Kickstarter calls him, clearly takes many forms, many characters, is clearly this sort of disciple of Wiggly.
Yes.
Joey Richter, while playing one character, has to play about 6 different characters in this show. While playing the same person.
Yeah, so they all have to be the same person playing different characters.
Which is an incredibly difficult feat.
Yes.
Like, he does it so wonderfully that that's why I think I put most of my Uncle Wiley talking performance is everything from, this sort of grandpa-esque, guy on a fishing boat from the advert intro to the sleazy, shipping guy from that, to this sort of manipulative, coercive, honestly, in a way, somewhat like the way that his character talks to Linda, and partly in the joke of they're an actual couple.
Yeah.
But also in the sense of like it feels like he is seducing her.
Yeah.
Like he also he kind of has to play it as this like sort of manipulative, crazy, but also somewhat like sensual,
like almost like not
character.
Charming, but quite. He definitely has a way with work. Like he has such a.
Yeah.
You almost want to listen to him.
And then you sort of have to, and then you sort of make him this. But by the time he meets with the president and then McNamara, he becomes this sort of charismatic underling.
Yeah.
Like these are all different characters he's playing within the same character, and they all feel like the same character.
Yeah,
yet all
and that's
feel
the
so
key
different.
thing. Is while they're all different, they're all, I guess, Wilbercross playing all these different characters. It still feels like it is him, which is so difficult to do.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's the only other note I've got. Well, I've got 2 notes. I've got Dylan. I've just written the subtlety of Dylan is what I've written, which sounds like a weird like indie film.
Yeah.
But just Dylan is so good at being subtle, and it's just wonderful to watch. I've written especially what Tim wants. Like some of his face,
Yeah.
the what his face does in that song, and like the little moments of realization you get just in that song, when he's talking about obviously his wife and all that kind of thing, you get these little moments and little looks of remembering that.
Yeah.
And obviously we know that Tom suffers from PTSD, so having that and the way he portrays it is just so wonderful.
Yeah, I mean, and it's just this way that he, like, it's hard to find an actor because there's many different types of actors, many different, levels of skill. Some, you look at the actor, you can only see the actor. So if you think about like a Jim Carrey,
Yeah.
no matter what Jim Carrey's in, you look at that and you go, that's Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And it's the same way I feel about an actor like Joey Richter. Is he could do incredible things and plays incredible characters. But I always look at him and I go, that, not in a negative way, but I go, that's Joey Richter.
Yeah.
But Dylan, as incredible as it is, when I look at him playing Tom, I don't see Dylan. I see Tom.
Yeah.
And it's the same with Jafar. And even in his more comical characters, it's the same with like a Tootsie Mega Girl,
Yeah.
or like a Tootsie Mega Girl, or a Dumbledore.
Yeah, you don't
I
see
don't
Dylan.
see Dylan.
Like, I don't see
When
those characters you just listed off. I don't see as the same person.
Yeah.
Whereas if you go Ron, Bug, what like though I'd go like Ted. I'd go yeah, that's Joey Richter. But you go Dumbledore, Tootsie Mega Girl, Tom. I'd go, oh god, they are. You sort of have to go, oh god, yeah, they are all. They're the same guy. Oh god, yeah, because he put, and that's like, I'm not saying that almost sounds like I'm going Dylan good, Joey not. It's just the difference in performance styles. Yeah, it's completely different performance styles. Like Joey to me is very much character actor.
Yeah, and for a performer like Joey, you kind of want to be able to be seen in every role that you play.
Yeah, when you're more of a comic actor, you want that because that's almost what you're doing. Joey Richter is funny. Is like one of the funniest people, so his roles are funny.
Yeah,
not just because of the writing or the character, but also because you go, that's Joey Richter's comedic style, and I find his style quite funny. Whereas Dylan just pulls at your heartstrings and just makes you sob.
Yeah. I mean, speaking on funny characters, I mean, you can't talk about Black Friday without talking about Linda.
Yeah.
Played by Lauren Lopez. It's such a masterclass in making someone hate you while loving you at the same time.
It is the opposite of Ethan.
Yeah. It is the opposite.
I just actively don't enjoy watching Ethan. At all. Not even in a, oh, he's bad. I just go, what the fuck are you doing? But you watch Linda and you go, oh, this like charismatic, evil, like main character syndrome. And you kind of go, all right, go on, Linda. You've convinced me.
Yeah, you watch her and you're like, I fucking hate you, but like, please don't leave.
Yeah, but please don't stop because it's quite enjoyable to watch.
Yeah, it's so hard to do that and to make that funny. Like often to play an evil character that people like, you normally have to either make them so outrageously evil, or there has to be a certain like charm to them.
Yeah, or you have to be an animated Disney character.
Or
because most of those you go like Scar, you go this like wonderfully camp theatrical lion. What a guy.
But like it's rare that that character themselves is ever funny.
Yeah.
Like the thing we love about Scar is that he is very camp and over the top. But he's not like cracking one-liners.
No.
Or he's not like saying comedic things. But Linda, like walking in and one of the first lines is like, no, Gerald, you're not allowed within 50 feet of a Cinnabon.
Yeah.
Is
it's just
fucking hilarious.
Oh, actually,
and only someone...
Sorry, just quickly before I forget, one of the best because it's in that scene, is Jon Matteson's lawyer character.
Yes.
Just that is
I'm
comedic,
Gary
just
Goldstein.
comedic genius. And the fact that obviously he's first, I think he's Linda's lawyer first, and then is it Sherman?
Sherman's
Who's like, I'll get
lawyer.
my lawyer involved, and then he comes over again. Like that is so simple. That's comedic genius.
Yeah, because I mean, yeah, I mean the other one I have here is Becky. I mean Kim Whalen.
I mean, enough said.
Enough said. I mean, it's just like I don't know, like if this comes across as insulting to the actress herself, but she feels so good at playing these sort of desperate characters in a way.
Yeah,
These
I
sort
get
of
what you
characters
mean.
that are lost or at like that are at an end and don't know what they're supposed to be doing. Like just feel sort of lost, like they have no one, that they're sort of at the end of their tether.
Yeah.
Like again, I don't know if that comes across as like
No, I get what you
mean
mean.
to her, but because I love Kim Whalen, I think she's an incredible performance, and what a voice does
Oh my
she have?
God.
She is an
Her song in
insane singer.
Cinderella's. Oh my God.
Ash to Ash is wonderful.
Incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, there's hers and Tom's song in this is
Yeah.
Take Me Back is wonderful. But yeah, she perfects the nuances of a character in that situation, which is great when, unfortunately, as we said earlier under the characters talk, is you're not given much material to go off.
Yeah, Kim's not given a ton of
like she wasn't given, this fucking 500-page novel on the story of Becky Barnes.
No. Or it's like heart-wrenching song that's like a precursor to the whole plot with what Tim wants. You just kind of have to, like, the big songs she gets are once all that action is already going on.
Yeah.
So to have to build up to that as opposed to build from it is I mean, she just does a perfect job though. I also, similar to just Kim Whalen, I have literally just written in italics, by the way. None of this is in italics other than the Ethan slander. I have written Corey full stop. Now, he doesn't even do a load in this show.
No, I
but
mean...
honestly, doors are open for me is enough.
Yeah, I mean... One thing that's quite funny with this is that, like, Corey has the sort of similar thing to Joey, but slightly different, where it's like, oh, this is funny because it's Joey playing this character.
Yeah.
Whereas for Corey, it just feels like a lot of the characters are just him.
Yeah. Yeah, it always feels like Corey is playing Corey.
Yeah, like Grandpa in Trail to Oregon, Frank in Black Friday, Bill in the guy I don't know what it's called, Mel Outer in thing. They all just sort of feel like Corey.
Different versions of Corey.
Yeah, and again, not a dig at all. It's a wonderful thing because he is a wonderful person. But it's just like this is funny. This is just like I'm just enjoying watching Corey be Corey.
Yeah, he's one of those people you just watch and go, yeah, he's having fun up there, isn't he? He's just going for it.
It was same. Harking back to the concert.
Yeah.
I don't know if anyone got it on film. So every year, last year and this year, they've taken sort of what would be known as, let's say, quote unquote, like a British staple song.
Right.
And they always perform it at the end of the show.
Okay.
Last year they did "Wannabe" by the Spice Girls.
Brilliant.
They did. It was wonderful. I've seen clips of it everywhere. This year they did "Father Figure" by George Michael.
Oh my God.
And at one point in the song, I can't remember exactly what was going on, but I think like Corey was making out that he was bumming Jeff or something like that. I can't remember what it was, but something was going on between Corey and Jeff that Corey to Mrs. Q.
Oh my God.
Like, to come in on the song. And because they were all doing this thing, they were like all kind of like the photo that they take at the end of the
Yes.
where they were all like lying, like sort of hugging each other from behind, and like Corey and Jeff were doing something else at the end. I can't remember what it was, and I don't know if someone got it on video. But like again, it's just Corey being Corey.
Yeah.
And it was just fun. And it's the same thing here. It's like a character like Frank or any of the multitude of characters, Yakshe and things, they just feel like Corey being Corey, which is wonderful.
Which is a wonderful thing to watch.
Yeah.
So what have you given performances then?
I mean, it's undeniably. There's very few Starkid shows that I think won't get this. It's a 5.
I agree. I think like Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, it can't be anything but a 5.
Yeah.
So I guess the only other thing we've got to talk about is our overall enjoyment of the show.
Yeah, so my overall enjoyment of the show, I mean, it ranks out to... Yeah, because I mean, my overall enjoyment of the show is... I gave it a 4.
I also gave it a 4.
Yeah.
I think...
surprisingly...
Go on.
Even though in my personal rankings, like if I was choosing what show to watch, I do put Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals above Black Friday.
Yeah.
Black Friday, in terms of my final score, comes out on top.
Same. Which I would not have... before we even filmed the first episode, I would not have predicted that. But I think that this is such a, like... This is almost a more, like, objective way, I guess, of ranking it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a completely different way of ranking it. So what's your overall score, then, for the whole show out of 30?
My overall score for the whole show is 23.
See, mine's 24.
Yeah, my Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals one was 21.
I think mine was 20, because I think I think you were 1 point ahead of me.
Yeah, so mine gained 2 points over what Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals had, but I probably would still choose my Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals
And that's the
over
thing.
Black Friday.
This is technically, by this, 4 points higher than the Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals. But if you sat me down and said, would you rather watch Black Friday or Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals? 9 times out of 10, I will say Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, which is very strange.
And I think that's because I think it's a personal thing, because like Black Friday, objectively, if you look at it from the construction of a musical, like taking back any like sort of thoughts about it, like your own opinions on it,
Yeah.
purely looking at it from a structure of a musical basis and like writing and building basis, Black Friday is a better show than
objectively.
Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals.
Yeah, I mean, like, if you're looking at just as, technically,
like,
what is the better show? Black Friday.
It's a Black Friday.
But what show do I prefer to watch? Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals.
Well, I mean, Nerdy Prudes.
Well, yeah, of the two we've done, Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, of the trilogy. Spoilers. It's not really a spoiler, though, is it? Like, let's be honest, we've all seen Nerdy Prudes.
No.
It's just not.
But, I mean, Guy Who Didn't Like Music. It's also, there's something special about it because it's its popularity, but also in the sense that it's written for theatre fans.
It is. It's written by theatre kids for theatre kids.
Yeah.
And so it's got a charm to it. That's what I think Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals really stands out with for me with all of Starkid stuff. Is it's reminiscent of older Starkid as well. Like, it's got that sort of charm to it, the sort of more simplicity. It feels like, obviously, something like Cinderella's and even Nerdy Prudes to an extent, the higher production value, you go, well, obviously, again, technically, this is obviously a miles better show. But there'll always be that charm with early Starkid and with Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals that you just watch and go, yeah, this feels very nice and charming and simple.
Yeah.
And relaxing to watch is the other thing, I think.
Yeah.
Like, I could stick that on and just chill and watch it.
Because I think that is something we'll find as we go through. I mean, certain shows that we think are going to rank highly will probably rank lower, and ones that we think will rank low will probably rank quite highly.
Yeah, because it's a completely different way of looking at ranking shows, but it's a good format. It's interesting to see that how, like, I would never have said this would be 4 points ahead of Guy Who Didn't Like Musicals, but here we are.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you don't have anything else to say, we can we can leave it there for this episode of A Very Starkid Podcast. Thank you everyone for listening or watching, whatever you're doing. We do have an email address, so if you fancy sending us any questions related to the shows we've already done, or to be fair, even if you have questions about Nerdy Prudes, do send them in over the next sort of week, and then we'll get to them when we record. Just honestly, any sort of questions or suggestions for like special podcasts, because obviously this is the main format, is we rank all the shows. But if someone emails in and says, "Oh, this would be like a cool one-off special like podcast episode," we can go, "Oh, cool, right, we'll do that then." So and we're open to any sort of feedback and suggestions from you wonderful lot.
Yeah.
If you want to get this podcast a day early, you know where you can get it. You can get it over on the Patreon, along with all the other perks that I don't tend to shut up about anymore. But it is a good fun time. You get more of a say in what we do on the channel. There's a Patreon exclusive Discord channel where I sort of just treat that as a help. What should I do? Or anyone got any ideas? Cool, I'll do that. Any other things to add there, Leo? Or shall we? I've just stubbed my toe on my desk. God, that hurt. Oh. Hit me. That was not fun. Oh, my little toe and everything. Oh, you bastard. Sorry, anything else to add?
Oh. No, I mean, yeah.
Oh, you cut out.
Oh, did I cut out?
You did.
Hello?
You're back.
We're good. Wonderful. As I'm sure.
No, you cut out again. It's literally the exact same word.
How close am I going to have to get to the mic for it to keep picking me up? Am I going to have to talk like this? The additional. I'm basically saying, as you know, this week we. Did it do it again? Okay, no, it didn't. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so this week we have got Cinderella's Castle going up, as well as a plethora of other content, including one of our latest covers, Sweet Tooth.
Yes, that went out as recording. I think it went out yesterday, didn't it?
I believe so. It did, at least on.
I mean, for these lot, it would have been out because this will go out obviously on Sunday. So as of them listening, you will have both acts of Cinderella's Castle and a Sweet Tooth cover. I can speak.
Yeah, which also means we'll be moving on to next week, which brings the start of Firebringer, a long-awaited show on this channel. I know it was very.
So I just realised as well, as of this going up yesterday, you will have had the first part of Spies Are Forever.
Ah, yes, we start Spies Are Forever this week.
We do. So as of yesterday, so if you're listening to this and didn't know that was a thing, and you love the Tin Can Bros, go and check that out. Act 1, Part 1 would have been out yesterday.
Yeah. And I mean, that'll be out. That would have been out yesterday, as well as the fact that next week we've got the long-awaited Firebringer.
We do.
Starting. That was a hot contender, nearly beat out Trail to Oregon.
Yes, it was very close actually between those two.
It is one of the more loved Starkid shows, very much.
I'm very excited.
It's one of them ones like sort of twisted Trail to Oregon and Firebringer.
Yeah.
Outside of the Hatchetfield and Potter franchises are sort of the ones that are constantly contending for
like the flagships of Starkid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would definitely say that they're the ones that are sort of fighting each other. I would throw Starship in the mix. For me personally, Starship's in the mix, but I know for a lot
I
of
would
people,
like to
Starship's
rewatch
like
Starship.
A yes or no show.
And then Thursdays.
You'll get to where we...
Thursdays will be sort of miscellaneous whatever people like. It'll be a mix of comment suggestions, things that I've just sort of seen and gone, I kind of want to watch that. As opposed to like a series where I go, I'm gonna watch, like when I did, like I'm watching Heathers from start to finish, song by song. It won't be that kind of thing. It'll literally just be someone goes, oh, you should watch this, and I go, okay, I'll watch that.
I have a video lined up to give to you for
wonderful
Thursday as well, by the way.
But even if there is someone goes, oh, you should watch, even if someone does go, you should watch this show, then it might just be I split it then over like a month as opposed to doing a song per thing. It might be, okay, we'll do it similar to the Saturday ones where we do Act 1, Part 1, that kind of thing. So yeah, leave your suggestions for Thursday reactions, or not even reactions, it can be literally anything. Thursday, I'm very happy to be very community driven as to what we want to do. And actually, if you're not in the Discord, then there should be a working link in the description. If it's not working, I'm sorry. But join there, because we talk a lot in there about what we want to do, and we have a lot of fun in the Discord. It's a very active community, actually. It's rather nice.
Yeah, it's wonderful, fun. I'm glad to have set it up so we all have a place to talk. But yeah, as I say, I have something that a lot of people in this requesting to that I'm going to send through to Fraser for the Thursday reaction, and just keep an eye out on the channel, because hopefully it should be a day before, but even that, you should at some point before they happen see a notification go up for whenever Fraser's going to be streaming.
Yes, that will just be random, sporadic. It's not been this week at all, and I don't think it will be, because I'm doing a show at the moment, so this week probably will not have a monkey business.
Just for clarification, obviously we're recording.
Oh, we are recording on Sunday. So in that case, ignore me.
Fraser is referring to the week that we filmed this, which is the week that's just gone.
So if you're wondering why there wasn't a monkey business last week, that is why.
Yes, there you go.
Because I was a busy boy.
Obviously, as I'm sure many of you are aware, but just to reiterate, we've had changes to the schedules. Obviously, we've spoken about how Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays are going to work. This is taking the place of monkey business on a Sunday, and monkey business is whenever Fraser's got free time.
Whenever I've got time, and it's not even restricted to evenings. Like if I've got an afternoon free, I'll just hop on, just whenever. Keeps it a bit more free, but we will still do the once I finish watching an entire show, we then rank all of the songs. So which means we'll have a Very Potter senior year songs to rank, and Cinderella's Castle.
Yeah,
as the two I've recently finished. So yeah, it's all going on. And then song covers just sporadically won't be on a Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday unless I don't have a Thursday video. Then it might be. But there I'm just going to chuck them out as and when we have them.
And we've got a lot in the bank.
We do. I'm very excited.
Yeah. But it's been fun.
It has. I'm very excited for the final installation of the Hatchetfield trilogy.
Yeah.
With Nerdy Prudes Must Die.
That is going to be a fun episode. As Fraser said, send your questions in. Put them, you can send them to the email or use the comments. If you're watching this early on Patreon, use the Patreon comment section or the comment video.
I didn't know you can comment on Spotify now, which I didn't know.
Oh.
So even if you're listening on Spotify, you can comment on there as well. Let us know your thoughts of Nerdy Prudes. We might do a little like viewer reactions. And sort of get your thoughts involved as well.
And let us know what you have to say about Black Friday as well. I will go back and comb through to see if there was anything we missed in terms of talks about the guy who didn't like musicals on the last episode. I didn't have a chance to grab them before we recorded this podcast, but we'll sort of do a big Hatchetfield roundup at the start of the Nerdy Prudes.
Yes, so if you've got any thoughts at all, Hatchetfield, get them in. Within the next week. Because I don't know.
But I think that has everything lined up. Everything needs to be said. Everything that needs to be spoken about and announced.
Lots going on.
So, with all that, I will see you guys later. I think Fraser will as well.
I should hope so. Go watch something else on this channel. There might